Hi, it's Mel Dennis here from Domain & Co for our professional property series. I'm sitting here today with Clint Waters from Axton Finance. Welcome, Clint.
Hey Mel, thanks for having me.
Great to have you on board. Today we thought we would have a bit of a chat about upgrading your property and how finance works around that. There's lots of people that start in a smaller home. Things change, families grow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Need to get into a larger home.
Well, look, there's a whole process, and getting the finance right at the start makes a massive difference. So importantly, what banks will look for are the two things. One is the amount of equity you've got in the property, and secondly is the amount of income that you've got to meet the repayments on that mortgage.
Important.
So what we always suggest is that we'd always have a chat with our clients, get a little bit of a headspace of where you are at individually, and most importantly is to get a valuation done up front from a bank. Quite different from a market appraisal from a real estate agent, because they are valuing for the purpose of getting the best outcome, best price, and the bank is valuing for the purpose of risk and lending. So those numbers can be a little different. Once we've got that, we can determine how much equity is available, and we can talk about what your current financial position is to work out what sort of loan size that you'd have at the end of it, subject to a sale. What's really important is understanding the timing in upgrading a property. And particularly in this market at the moment, you really want to know what you can sell your current property for before you go out and make a commitment to buying something.
Absolutely.
So we do have the conversations with clients to say, oh, I've seen this property, it's perfect, we've got to get the finance approved, we've got 3 days. That's just
options on the weekend.
Yeah, that's just make a decision with pure emotion.
Yeah.
So what we definitely would suggest is say, right, okay, it's the first property. Get the pre-approval so that you know exactly what you've got to play with.
Start the process.
Start the process. If you can get a sale under your belt so that you can get a long settlement that gives you time of being able to purchase, that means that you are going to be able to have the sale proceeds to use to buy the new property that you're buying.
Yeah.
Not knowing how much money you've got in your pocket literally can be a bit of a disaster, because if you can't sell, you might be in this peak debt position, which can be very uncomfortable, or you could even put your deposit at risk if you made a commitment to purchase something and not sold. And
on the other hand too, you may get more for your property than what you had hoped for, which means you then have more to get into that bit better home that you didn't realise had you have sold first you could have done. Yeah,
it's a really good point on that, Mel, because upgrading property is super important to take a long-term view to it, because buying and selling, as you know, as we all know, is super expensive. So you've got the selling costs, the acquisition costs, and everything else in between. So to compromise to try and buy a property that just happened to be in this market with a small window, it can be a lot more costly in the long run. So we don't want to be seeing our clients in 2 years' time saying, that single-fronted, house that we moved into with the whole family, it's
too small.
It's a bit too small, and it's hyper expensive to go through that process every few years.
Absolutely.
So taking a long-term view to it, I've always said to the clients, your worst case scenario is you might end up renting for 6 months or less, but it is far, far, far cheaper to be in that situation than it is to compromise on what is probably one of your biggest decisions in your life.
So the first step would be knowing the value of your home roughly. So you can get a real estate agent to do that, just so you roughly know what you've got to play with, and then coming and seeing someone like yourself to know where they stand with regards to the borrowing capacity based on that, before you then jump into selling and moving on. So what we can offer you today, if you'd like to find out more about this process, is a free mortgage health check, and also a free appraisal on your property as well. So just click on the link below, enter your details, and we'll be in contact with you straight away to organise both of those things for you today. Thanks so much for your time today, Clint. It's been great, and we hope you've got a lot out of it as well.
Thanks, Mel.